Welcome to another episode of Lost in the Script TV. This is Crossroads episode 211. Hopefully y'all had a great stress-free 2 weeks as possible. Hopefully the good Lord remain to be good to y'all. How y'all doing? Peace, and blessings to everyone. Yeah, we got some stuff to get to. Just making sure this work, y'all. Hold on. A lot of conversation going on with a lot of things going on in the world. Some politics and some intercommunal things that we got to get to. Some things are coming to a head and need to be addressed. And when it's time to address stuff within the community, we don't need to hear all this unity for all the people. I always dig charity work. I'm gonna explain why I'm saying that later in the episode, but when it's time to chastise our youth and correct things, we have to be very honest and blunt with each other. Sometimes it's time for, sometimes it's necessary to just, I hate using this word, but maybe I should use another word, but punishment is necessary sometimes. And while for the last couple of decades, we haven't been as strong as we should have been on the correcting needs to happen with the youth. And things like this happen, I guess you say, all the time, and it goes viral and people speak on it and nothing comes from it. But I'm gonna get to it later, really soon actually. And we're gonna talk about Trump a little bit more. With the stuff that came out and the alleged emails that were leaked. We're gonna get to all of it, man. Hold on, give me a second. Hold on. All right, let's go ahead and start. Update on this story. Fuji's rapper Pras sentenced to 14 years in prison for illegal lobbying. Keep in mind, this lobbying was in connection to the Obama, should I say. So he's the fall guy for that situation, I guess. 14 years. That's crazy. Ex-Fuji's musician, Pras, has been sentenced to 14 years in prison for using money to peddle influence in U.S. politics. U.S. prosecutors had recommended a life sentence for the Grammy Award winner after he was found guilty of corruption and other charges, including acting as an unregistered foreign agent and witness tampering in April of 2023. U.S. District Judge Colin handed down the sentence in Washington, D.C. court on Thursday. The 53-year-old testified that in his own defense during his trial, but declined to address the court on Thursday, the Associated Press reported. Sound like he told. Sound like he gave something up. I don't know. But we shall see in the future if anything comes of it. His attorney said the sentence is completely disproportionate to the offense and that he will appeal. The musician, who was found guilty of campaign finance violations and lying to banks, has been accused of bringing secret illegal foreign influence to bear between 2012 and 2017, spanning the time Barack Obama and Donald Trump were in the White House. The U.S. prosecutors said he received more than $100 million from Malaysian billionaire Joe Low that was used in two efforts to influence U.S. politics. He was also convicted of lobbying on behalf of China's government. Prosecutors said he betrayed his country for money, and for nearly a decade he sought to exploit and deceive various entities in the U.S. government, including the White House and FBI, as well as his own co-conspirators, according to the court documents. So he the fall guy on this, obviously. We kind of can see that. He lied unapologetically and unrelentingly to carry out his schemes. Prosecutor said his sentence should reflect the breadth and depth of his crimes, his indifference to the risk to his country, and magnitude of his greed. You know what's funny? He's actually kind of lucky, because this could be considered treason, that you were working illegally with foreign governments to have influence in U.S. policy. This could be considered treason, which is that's death sentence, immediate. They had recommended a life sentence in line with federal guidelines. The trial saw testimony from Hollywood star Leonardo DiCaprio, as well as former U.S. Attorney General Jeff Sessions. Mr. Lowe, who funded money to him, was accused of stealing about $4 billion from Malaysian sovereign wealth fund during the infamous IMDb scandal. So 14 years for peddling, for lobbying, possibly to the Obama and Trump administrations for the Chinese and Malaysian billionaires. And he might just get away with 14 years. I know he may consider that harsh. Some might consider that kind of harsh, but they could that life sentence recommendation is real. Very lucky. If he only gets 14 years, he's pretty lucky. Speaking of hip hop and foreign affairs and international affairs that's going on, I gotta mention this. Nicki Minaj supports contested Trump claim Christians are being persecuted in Nigeria. So I already spoke about Trump's comments on this, and obviously this is meant to be a deflection from what's going on in Israel. And Trump is trying to build or reestablish his base, because he's losing a lot of his base with how things are going right now in this country. Didn't he denounce Marjorie Taylor Greene and a few others? They're starting to go away from the Make America Great Again slogan to the Make America First slogan. So he's losing some of his support base. So he's trying to strengthen his standing amongst the Christians. He knows that the longer that Israel is in the news for what's going on with Palestine, or Gaza, should I say, that it will dampen the support for them, and the constant critique and coverage of this it's not good for the evangelical Christians of America, who are very much in support of the Zionist state of Israel. So they're using the Nigerian thing and them supposedly killing Christians, which we've heard that before with the Muslim, I think it's a northern, what they call them, Fulani herdsmen, and the other groups in Nigeria allegedly carrying out these war crimes, these mass killings and kidnappings of young girls and boys, making them war criminals, and turning the boys into child soldiers, and obviously doing heinous things to the girls. So Nicki Minaj came out at the UN. She said some comments on Twitter responding to one of the officials speaking on it, and she was invited to the UN. She accepted, and she she actually went and spoke at the UN. I'm not gonna play the whole thing, but I'm gonna play some of what she said at the UN. Hold on.
Hello, everyone. I must say I am very nervous, so please, well, thank you, Ambassador Waltz, for this invitation. It is an honor to stand on this stage with you and the other distinguished speakers here today to shine a spotlight on the deadly threat faced by thousands of Christians in Nigeria.
Now, I'm bringing this up because the thing that we're seeing happening with so-called hip-hop artists, because the talk has been for the last few months about the numbers and the charts. And then we're seeing people from legendary groups and people who have some of the biggest artists ever in the genre doing things that are not for music at this point, obviously. Politics. Politics is the next frontier for a lot of these demographics. We talk about Stephen A. Smith all the time, and this attempt to shift from whatever you're a part of, whether it's entertainment, music, sports, and trying to get that political money. Also, if I'm not mistaken, Nicki, she's Christian apparently. She has a pastor, and she's spoken about her faith apparently on her last album. So this could be her saying that she's in defense of her fellow Christian brothers and sisters in Nigeria who are being persecuted. But also, we know what this really probably definitely is. This is an attempt for her to get recognition and attention. And she's getting a lot of backlash. I'm not going to play this whole thing. You kind of can guess what she said. Like I said, this is about the supposed Muslim, or not even just Muslim, but these Nigerian people killing Nigerian Christians in Nigeria, and she's supposed to be supporting them. But I've seen a lot of people, whether they're there currently or they're from there or that's their lineage or whatever, they came out and had a very strong words against her. And obviously got a lot of backlash because this is considered being pro-Trump, even though technically it wouldn't have anything to do with Trump. This wouldn't have nothing to do with him. I'm going to play some of the responses. I'm going to play one response to her for doing this. Not the whole thing, obviously. Let's get to it. Hold on.
I have a question for Nicki Minaj. How dare you? How dare you speak of Nigerian suffering only in the context of Christians? How freaking dare you qualify your support of Nigerians on the condition that they are Christians? How bloody dare you?
Well, that is the typical evangelical Christian way. Whenever you see them speak on international crises that involve Christians, whether it be in Iran, Iraq, or any Middle East country, obviously with Israel, they never really care about the actual people. It's the Christians in that country, because they have this belief that only Christians are their brothers and sisters and everybody else is a heathen and can die. We don't care.
Do your homework on what is actually going on in Nigeria before spreading misleading information on an international platform like the United Nations. How dare you? I want to give Nicki Minaj grace that she heard what was happening online. She was absolutely horrified by it, heard him refer to it as a religious war against Christians, and immediately wanted to say something, make a statement, especially to her Barbies, that we must call for the end of the persecution and killings of Christians in Nigeria without doing any information gathering, verification, or any assessment on how her voice would be used.
It don't matter. This is a political play. I wonder if it has anything to do with the the Democratic Party deciding to ingratiate themselves with another female artist who was considered a rival to her. So she decided to go the opposite route. But that's just me spitballing. I don't know.
To perpetuate and push the false narrative of this fool and end up doing more damage than good. I really want to give her the benefit of the doubt, because you see, when celebrities choose to use their voice, when they do, it is not too much to ask that they don't come across as uneducated, ignorant, and quite frankly, self-aggrandizing on the pain and suffering of a persecuted people. It really isn't too much to ask. If Nicki Minaj and these celebrities parroting Trump's false narrative had done their homework, then they would know that it's a genocide of Nigerians, Christians, Muslims, traditionalists, atheists, that it is impacting Nigerians regardless of their faiths, that it is gender violence disproportionately impacting women and girls, all of whom are Christians and Muslims, that it is ethnic violence impacting Nigerians of different ethnicities, and which has led to 2.7 million Nigerians being internally displaced in Nigeria, with hundreds of thousands seeking refuge in neighboring countries.
And this is why, and shout out to those people, prayers to them. Hopefully they're able to fix these problems. This is why I'm so confused when I see people from, or their lineage from Nigeria, having so much to say about what's going on in other countries, when it's like, you don't have time to do this. It's too much going on in that country in particular. Obviously throughout Africa in general, throughout the world, every country is dealing with something, obviously. But on the continent of Africa, in every country, there's something going on. But in Nigeria in particular, they tend to have they tend to be the fastest to comment on something that has nothing to do with them. So it's funny seeing that Nicki Minaj, who is Caribbean, speaking on Nigeria, is all of a sudden just crossing the line, mind your business, get educated. I wish everybody took that advice, honestly. But anyway, shout out to Kiefer. Peace, peace, peace. Shout out to everyone. And then we're going to with this, because there's more hip-hop news. This shouldn't even be news. This is just crazy. But I'm going to show this. Let me show this. Diddy in danger of losing $100 million NBC lawsuit due to statements made to federal judge. Comb team says NBC filing has no relevance to whether the documentary met basic standards of accuracy and responsibility. So if you know, he sued NBC for a release that he said was false, had they didn't prove, not verified. They sued him for $100 million for defamation. They're pushing back against the lawsuit, arguing that the Peacock documentary, The Making of Bad Boy, didn't tarnish the mogul's reputation because, according to the network, that damage had already been done. The media giant's newly filed motion to dismiss first highlighted all hip hop positioned Combs' own legal troubles in a courtroom admission as a true source of his downfall and not the film he claims defamed him. Central to NBC's argument is Combs' statement at the federal sentencing where he addressed the judge after being partially convicted of sex trafficking and racketeering charges. Because of my decisions, I lost my freedom. Combs told the judge at his sentencing where he received a 50-month prison term. I lost my career. I totally destroyed my reputation. NBC contends that admission undercuts the lawsuit's premise that the documentary irreparably harmed his image, insisting the mogul had already publicly acknowledged responsibility for the collapse of his career and public standing. Yeah, he said it right there. I totally destroyed my reputation. He was never gonna get that $100 million anyway. But the next article, which is the funny one, and this is when you realize that a lot of the things being said in public are just fodder. It's taken completely out of context. People run with things, and it leads to confusion. P. Diddy's prison overrun with inmates having mass orgies in the showers at night, ex-inmate claims. Ex-prisoners describe violence, poor living standards, and unchecked behavior at the New Jersey facility. FCI Fort Dix, the low-security New Jersey facility where Sean P. Diddy Combs is serving a 50-month sentence, is back under scrutiny after former inmates described the prison as unsafe and poorly maintained. Among them is Real Housewives New Jersey star Joe Juice, who spent 41 months in Fort Dix after 2014 fraud conviction. Reflecting on his time there, he said Diddy's experience would depend on keeping a low profile, but added that he regularly witnessed disturbing behavior in the early hours. Speaking to U.S. Weekly, he claimed he saw inmates engaging in sexual activity in communal showers areas while guards looked the other way. Now, that first paragraph I read, and that's all I really need to read from that, says something totally different than what went around when people were saying about what was said in this article. When people first saw this, people were running around saying that Diddy had people doing all type of crazy stuff in the showers. When what this is really about is him saying that the prisons, once again, as we've seen all type of documentaries and stuff on these prisons, is unsafe and the guards do not care what happens. We saw the same thing in the Alabama prison system. We talked about that months ago. There was this documentary on it with Alabama, how years ago, it had to be, I don't know how long, it had to be like 5, 6, 7 years ago. Maybe it wasn't that long. COVID time got me messed up, y'all. But I think it was in Alabama prison. A man had an automatic rifle. A prisoner, let me rephrase that. A prisoner had an automatic rifle in there with him. You heard that right? A prisoner had I think he had an M16 or AK-47, one of those, in the prison with him. So yes, these guards, a lot of them are mules for the prisoners to get paid money to bring stuff in. Sometimes it's something harmless like cologne or some type of thing from outside. Sometimes it's obviously something a little more serious like drugs, and then sometimes it's flat out weapons, guns. To have a gun in prison is just, let alone an automatic rifle, is just crazy. Craig says, "Mass orgy." What the? What up, Craig? Now, keep in mind, he's saying that this type of stuff was happening in 2014. He said this happened in 2014, so it's not that this is recent. I don't know if it's recent or not, or he wouldn't know either because he hasn't been in there. But yeah, unfortunately, the headline, because Diddy's name is in it, and then you put mass orgies in it, people automatically assume something totally different, which is hilarious. He also recalled violence breaking out over trivial disputes, saying he has seen people get stabbed over an onion while incarcerated. Another former inmate described the facility living conditions as horrible, alleging broken toilets and showers, expired food, and overcrowded spaces. we've had this question. I ain't got to go no further. We've had this conversation at nauseum at this point. You know, prison, is it meant to help people build a better life and change, or is it meant to just be a punishment? So yeah, when you start saying stuff about people in prison eating expired food and rat infested, roach infested living conditions and broken toilets, and you know, guards not paying attention, and you kind of on your own. Well, you're dealing with people that would be considered the most antisocial group in society. You know, the criminal, the people, the criminal class, as you would call them. So they're probably not people that like to follow rules. And when you put those people in a room together, it's going to turn into an alpha situation where who's the toughest, who's the baddest. And unfortunately, a lot of people got to go in there and have a totally different mindset. You know, you almost got to become an animal when you go in there. You can't be civilized human. You got to become an animal. You got to be willing to go further than everybody else to defend yourself. So poor conditions, but as Diddy said, he put himself in there. But it's always funny when a celebrity does end up in these prisons, how it then becomes a story of how bad the conditions are. You know, you get hundreds of thousands of people a year go to these prisons, and then they come out and they tell you how bad it is and no one cares. And then, you know, celebrity goes in, comes out, tell you how bad it is, and they become front page, and gets all these people want to go to the prison and tape things, and there's all these investigations. You know, it's unfortunate, but it is what it is. Last on music, because we ain't even got to stay on this long. UMG, Sony, and Warner strike licensing deals with new AI music platform KLAY. We already know where this is going. According to the press release issued on Thursday, November 20th, these agreements establish terms on which KLAY will help further involve music experiences for fans, leveraging the potential of AI while fully respecting the rights of artists, songwriters, and rights holders. The company states that it is developing an AI music platform that reimagines listening to immersive, interactive tools powered by KLAY large music model, which, according to the announcement, is trained entirely on licensed music. Now, you probably already heard some of this music before. There's a page on YouTube called Soul Something. I can't remember the name of it. Soul Something. Where they take hip hop songs typically, and turn them into 60s blues songs, or turn them into 70s R&B songs. Some of them sound, I can't lie, some of them sound good. I heard one, Kendrick Lamar's Money Trees, turned into a 60s blues song, I think it is, or R&B, I can't remember. Sounds really good. So that's what this platform is going to do. It allows people to take music. So I could take 50 Cent in the club. I can take, you know, Outkast's Hey Ya and just turn it into any other genre, turn it into a rock song. And this AI will repurpose the song as a totally different genre. I can choose different voices, cadences, everything. I guess that's still, obviously that song is still owned by the people who originally wrote it. And that's why these groups right here, the music industry, that's pretty much the entire music industry, those three groups, are now striking a deal with this KLAY place so that they can make money off of that too. So they're trying to double dip. Not only am I going to make music off the original, the fan-made music, we're going to make money off of that too. Always, as they say, the house always wins. So, let's move on. It's funny, we talked about the AI thing last episode with the black woman who created a whole character, especially about her fantasy of being an R&B artist, even though she can't sing. She probably didn't write those songs either, but she's made this AI artist, and now it's signing contracts for millions. You got it charted on Billboard, and now you have this deal that the industry is doing with KLAY Media. So going further and further every week, further and further. Let's get to this. Okay. All right. What we know about new Epstein emails that mention Trump. So I'm pretty sure you already know the most trolling, or shall I say the message, the email that got the most attention, the one that spread the fastest, the one that became the talk of the town for a lot of people that hate Donald Trump, was the email that spoke on Trump and a person or a thing named Bubba. And obviously the nickname for Bill Clinton was Bubba. So email said that Donald Trump was giving happy time to Bill Clinton. Now this is supposedly debunked. I think the brother of Epstein came out and said that was fake. They also said the Bubba wasn't Clinton, it was somebody else. And I saw somebody say Bubba was was some animal or something. The Epstein thing, the fact that we talked about earlier this year, how they're turning this up and act like this is the most important thing to them again, even though they should have been keeping this up the years that Joe Biden's in office. We already know this, but now they're turning this up. Trump says now that he's going to release it. He's going to sign to release the Epstein stuff, even though they told us it existed. They sent a person, Ghislaine Maxwell, they sent a person to prison because they had some level of evidence of something. We saw them leave that man's house with tapes, black books, apparently, pictures, albums of that. Allegedly, there was all this evidence that sent a person to prison. But then they said there was no evidence. That there's nothing there, nothing to release. Now they're saying there's something to release again. So, all right. So they done went through, blackballed 90% of the information or deleted and burned, shredded the other 10%. So it is what it is. Craig said the Donald Trump Bill Clinton video was crazy. It's funny because he accused Donald Trump of being, talking about the emails with Epstein. He accused Donald Trump of knowing, what's her name? The woman who just recently passed away, who accused Epstein and the prince of, what's his name? The prince of England. I forgot his name. One of the princes of sexually assaulting her. She recently passed. I think she passed from cancer. He had a battle with cancer. So that same woman now is coming on the email saying, oh, yeah, he knew her. Now that's the same woman. Even though it's like they waited till she passed to admit that. I don't know. What up, Mark? What up? But in this, U.S. lawmakers have released more than 20,000 pages of documents from the estate of the disgraced financier and convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein, including some that mention President Donald Trump. Early on Wednesday, Democrats from the House Oversight Committee published 3 emails exchanges, including correspondence between Epstein, who died in 2019 in prison, and his longtime associate Ghislaine Maxwell, who is currently serving a 20-year prison sentence for sex trafficking. They also released emails between Epstein and the author Michael Wolff, who has written numerous books about Trump. Within hours, House Republicans released a massive trench of documents to counter what they said was a Democrat effort to cherry-pick documents. They also said it was an attempt to create fake narratives to slander President Trump. The emails were obtained by the committee after it subpoenaed Epstein's estate as part of his own probe into the federal investigation of Epstein. Why are we still investigating somebody? You know what he did. You have the information. Just like, come on, man. Craig says Prince Andrew. Yeah, thank you. Prince Andrew is the person that allegedly, well, it's pretty much proven. There's a picture with him, with the woman and Epstein. He was on a flight log, just kind of, he had a whole thing he had to deal with. But anyway, White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt, said the emails were selectively leaked by House Democrats to liberal media to create a fake narrative to smear President Trump. The fact remains that President Trump kicked Jeffrey Epstein out of his club decades ago for being a creep to his female employees, including, what's her name? That's the woman right there. I can't say her name. I can't say that name, I'll be honest. I'm not even going to try. Trump was a friend of Epstein's for years, but the president has said said they fell out in the early 2000s, 2 years before Epstein was first arrested. Trump has consistently denied any wrongdoing in relation to Epstein. As you can see, that he said, this is what Epstein said in the email about Trump. He said, I want you to realize that dog that hasn't barked is Trump. He said the victim's name, talking about the woman, spent hours at my house with him. He has never once been mentioned, police chief, etc. I'm 75% there. And she said, it's just Lane. I have been thinking about that. So they went through all the emails and stuff. Pretty much that was the biggest thing that came out of it. Also the correspondence with Wolf, who was trying to say how is Trump gonna answer the question at these debates about his relationship to you. And I guess they were brainstorming, think tanking on what he could say. Then he said, yeah, if Trump says he don't know you and never met you, never been to your house or your plane, you can use that as a debt. You can use that over his head, basically blackmail, which we've been saying for the longest. That's what he does. It was kind of, we know this, it's out loud at this point. They still denying who he was working for, whether it be the American CIA or if he was Mossad or whatever. Maybe it was like Ghislaine's father and he was a double, triple agent. But anyway, let's move to this. Ex-Harvard president Larry Summers stops teaching at university, investigates Epstein emails. Harvard University professor Larry Summers is taking leave while the school investigates his and other ties to late sex offender Jeffrey Epstein, a spokesperson confirmed. This is how you know it's clear things are being covered up and they're trying to slowly release things. They're letting certain people take a fall. They're letting certain people take the hit image-wise and trying to cover and protect other people. The powerful of the most influential won't ever be mentioning none of this stuff. They'll constantly just grab people like this, you know, the ex-Harvard president or a former congressman over here or somebody that was a magazine head over here. They'll just let some people fall slowly, but instead of just giving you the names, instead of just being honest about it and blowing the whole thing up, too many people will fall. Too much money is involved. Too many powerful people are involved. So they're just going to let a small segment of people take the fall for everything else, which is why that conversation came with, do you think Ghislaine Maxwell is actually in prison? Because there's a whole thing about, I think she's in Texas or she's somewhere in America in prison. I think it's Texas, if I'm not mistaken. Let me make sure. Hold on. Let me make sure. Hold on, y'all. Hold on. Yeah. It's a Texas prison she's in. There's apparently some conditions that she's complaining about there, but some people believe she's nowhere near an American prison. She's somewhere in Italy or Israel at least. But anyway, hold on. Get back to this. But another person been investigated. Then you have this right here. I want to read the end of this one. This right here is another article. Jeffrey Epstein emails reveal his disdain for morality among elite. Let me scroll down. They went into detail about the history. And then let me get here. Hold on. Before he died, Jeffrey Epstein made it clear that Donald Trump knew about the girls. Trump has denied any knowledge of involvement of Epstein's longstanding child sex trafficking operation. But in newly released emails, the members of Congress disclosed the media and the end of this fall government shutdown. The dead child sex trafficking financier can be seen corresponding with many occasions with Donald Trump. But the documents also revealed the stunning breadth of Epstein's connections among the nation's elite, including long after his initial 2008 sex crimes conviction, and the extent in which other men in positions of great power consider him a confidant or voice of reason. In the fall of 2017, shortly after the emergence of the Me Too movement, Larry Summers, the economist who resigned as the president of Harvard University, never overstatements he made, suggesting that women were less intelligent than men. He wrote to Epstein to complain that if you hit on a few women 10 years ago, you can't work at the network or think tank. Epstein also wrote multiple emails to the billionaire venture capitalist and right-wing media mega donor Peter Thiel, including one of the subject line that was fun, see you in 3 weeks. There is no evidence that the men participated in Jeffrey Epstein's habitual sex abuse of girl children, but their interactions with him suggest a kind of tolerance to his presence in their midst, a seeming comfort in exchanging intimate and sometimes lewd exchanges with a man they must have known have sexually exploited a child. Many of the emails to and from Epstein are marked as by a tone of haughty knowingness, a kind of worldly, smug cynicism I've encountered before in people who think that they are smarter than everyone else. Well, Epstein literally believed that he needed to spread his seed to create more of him because it would save the world. Which we know, we heard that a lot from the so-called billionaire class. They look at everybody else as useless breathers and eaters, and you're just taking up space. And it's their job to fix the planet, and we'll get to that later. Maybe in the haughty world of billionaires and private jets, it's considered to think that adults should not have sex with children. Maybe to them, morality is for the little people. Well, that's what happens when people get that type of money and power. They start to believe that rules are not really for me. I'm able to operate outside the confines of society's standards. I do what I want to do. Like, you ever hear people say that billionaires don't have a home? They don't have a nation that they stand behind. They move country to country based off of what they can exploit from that country the most. If you start charging me too much taxes or start doing certain things that investigate me, I'm out. That's why you notice whenever in America, whenever any state starts saying they're going to change some type of tax law or do some other investigations, immediately there's a threat. We'll leave. So there's power in that influence. There's influence, that level of power. But anyway, Jeffrey Epstein pursued Swiss Rothschild Bank to finance Israeli cyber weapons empire. I don't think I need to say no more. There's a lot of names and just in that headline alone that I'm surprised this article is allowed to be written. Very surprised. Speaking of that, Comer orders Bill and Hillary Clinton to appear in front of Oversight Committee in person. The congressman says the Clintons have been dragging their feet to delay complying with subpoenas. I saw something last week too where it says that Hillary allegedly in the 90s was having an affair with somebody who's in office. I can't remember his name right now. And then that same man ended up committing suicide in 1993. As I always say, whenever somebody's quote unquote do the Clintons wrong or say something about them publicly or a danger to their public image, they just kill themselves. They just commit suicide because it's just a shame to do something wrong to the Clintons. They feel so bad about what happened. That Clinton body count, man, I'm telling you, something serious. Let me get to this. House set to vote on Plaskett seizure measure. Let me play what she had to say in the whatchamacallit, this this is the woman here. Craig says the Clintons are just nice people, Yeah, they're just genuine people. They're generous with their time and money. I mean, look what they did for Haiti. No one would do something. They just sweethearts. They're just nice, sweetheart people. Let me play this.
I first want to give you all a sense of what was happening that day. Everyone knows at that hearing in February, the entire country was watching. As Michael Cohen decided he was going to finally give up information about what was happening in the Trump world, the Trump enterprise. And at the beginning of that hearing, the ranking member, Jim Jordan, had the disrespect to Elijah Cummings, may he rest in peace and his name be a memory, after not allowing Mr. Jordan to shut the committee hearing down. And I turned to Mr. Jordan and told him to have respect for the chair and to basically shut up. And that moment went viral. And I began to get innumerable texts from friends, from foes, from constituents about what was happening in that hearing. And I got a text from Jeffrey Epstein, who at the time was my constituent, who was not public knowledge at that time that he was under federal investigation, and who was sharing information with me. Now, I heard recently from someone that I was seeking advice from him. Let me tell you something. I don't need to get advice on how to question anybody from any individual. I have been a lawyer for 30 years. I have been a narcotics prosecutor in New York City. I have had the honor of being a political appointee.
She's saying all that and she's lying. I'm just going to jump to it. She's saying that Jeffrey Epstein, she was in the emails too, and came out to say that she was in there taking, like all these people, Jeffrey Epstein, it's still, his story is so, it lines up so well with just being some type of spy. He clearly was working for some type of government agency, because you start off as some spiritual math teacher at some very prominent school in New York. Then you end up in some finance situation where you're not even considered that good with it. You end up taking over or taking the money or the influence with another person who runs Victoria's Secret, Westner, I think that's his name, Wexler. Then you become this big dog financier who everybody is calling as a confidant to talk about all things political. You become so, it's just how his career and life move was so crazy. She was lying, as Kiefer said. Exactly. She was lying. As Yvette Carnell pointed out right here, how Jeffrey Epstein helped a rising Democrat star pull off a political upset. Democrat Stacey says she didn't solicit Epstein for donations. Emails tell a different story. Keep in mind, this is 2023. Chuck Ross, shout out to him, I guess. This is another one. Epstein first picked her campaign at the request of former Virgin Islands First Lady Cicely Dejoux, according to emails. So she's from the Virgin Islands. I saw somebody say, are we going to see Stephen A. Smith go in on her like he did, what's her name? This is the email. Your help is needed. We are trying to get Stacey elected to Congress. Sean Malone, current Senate president, is running against her in the Democratic primary in August. Sean is the one who came after you in a Senate hearing last week. He is nasty and needs to be defeated. Keep in mind, this man went at a sex trafficking kingpin. And she's saying he nasty. This person is saying she nasty. He nasty for doing that. Anyway. And we would have a friend in Stacey, which means she'd be in debt to him. Since this is the federal election, only personal contributions up to $2,600 a person can be given. She needs to raise about $75,000 between now and August. Do you think any of your friends would give her to her campaign? So this woman from the Virgin Islands got in office with the help of Jeffrey Epstein. That's not a surprise, because I've seen this right here, Jasmine Crockett, since I was speaking about her a second ago. Let me play this, because she says something that was stupid. She should never have brought something like this up. It just didn't make sense. It doesn't help her to bring this up. Let me play what Jasmine Crockett had to say.
Folks who also took money from somebody named Jeffrey Epstein, as I had my team dig in very quickly: Mitt Romney, the NRCC, Lee Zeldin, George Bush, Win Red, McCain Palin, Rick Lazio. I just want to be clear. If this is the standard that we're going to make, just know we're going to expose it all. And just know that the FEC filings, they are available for everybody to review. This is absolutely ridiculous.
So, in the midst of everybody, see, this is another thing why they don't want to re-release these files and these emails and stuff. So many of these people took money and advice from this man. And if it comes out, as I said earlier, it's going to completely shatter most of their careers. But Jasmine Crockett, why would you get up there and mention all the Republicans who took money from him when you know most of his donations went to the Democrats? Like, you know this. Like, the FCC filings you're talking about, you know this. So as you know, somebody definitely put out some of the names. Epstein donated more than $140,000 in Democrats over the years. Democrats like Bill and Hillary Clinton, Chuck Schumer, John Kerry. I'm speaking to certain names. And look at Stacey, Joe Lieberman. Like, and this isn't even all the people. It just seems counter. It just seems counter to what you're trying to do. And I guess the point she was making was, if you tell on us, we're gonna make sure everybody get aired out, and we're gonna tell on everybody. It's just silly. It doesn't make sense. If you're gonna do it, you might as well make the point that we didn't. We, somebody, everybody, you have to go into it with blindfolds and just say, hey, nobody knew, and we all just took money because it was money. We're trying to get into politics. If you start trying to make the claim that other people knew and other people didn't, then you're lying. Because all y'all knew what he was doing, what he was accused of, but you thought he got so much power and influence, he'll never get jammed up because of it. Which he didn't. He got away with it at first. A slap on the wrist. But, you know, good thing it came back around on him. Let me play this here.
Jeffrey Epstein has every major U.S. politician on video doing something terrible, probably to a child, okay, or to multiple people. The bottom line here is the United States government has become so corrupt that the time has come, I think, to clean the crap out of the stables and start over.
Wasn't that Trump's point? Drain the swamp? And I swear you could just tell these people are trained liars and manipulators, because he's making it seem like he's revealing something. These FBI, CIA people, he's making it seem like he's revealing something and being, you know, righteous right now. But in reality, he has some ulterior motive that he has, he's planning as well. He has some agenda. Let me play another person who was in defense now, and how this is splitting the MAGA side, because we're getting closer and closer to the people just admitting that all these people had something to do with Epstein. So now you got a group of people that's trying to somewhat come to the defense of Epstein. So let me play this. Or at least would have been accused of, should I say.
As for Epstein, I've said this before, but just as a reminder, I do know somebody very, very close to this case who is in a position to know virtually everything. Not everything, but virtually everything. And this person has told me from the start, years and years ago, that Jeffrey Epstein, in this person's view, was not a pedophile. This is this person's view, who was there for a lot of this, but that he was into the barely legal type. Like he liked 15-year-old girls. And I realize this is disgusting. I'm definitely not trying to make an excuse for this. I'm just giving you facts. That he wasn't into like 8-year-olds, but he liked the very young teen types that could pass for even younger than they were, but would look legal to a passerby. And that is what I believe.
So we know she's lying about one part. This is not just somebody close. This is a talking point you've been given. Regardless if you've been given this talking point by people associated with Trump or whatever, to say he doesn't like 8-year-olds, he likes the young teenagers, some that can look younger than they are. So he do like children. What are you talking about? Like, all right, man. Craig said this is nasty work. Despicable. But this is what you're going to see type of things like this happen in the next couple of years, because you're going to have to find a way to explain some of this stuff away. And it ain't just going to be the right wing. It's going to be the left wing as well.
Believed, and that was what I reliably was told for many years. And it wasn't until we heard from Pam Bondi that they had tens of thousands of videos of alleged, forgive me, they used to call it kiddie porn. Now they call it child sexual abuse material on his computer, that for the first time I thought, oh no, he was an actual pedophile. I mean, only a pedophile gets off on young children abuse videos. She's never clarified it. I don't know whether it's true. I have to be honest. I don't really trust Pam Bondi's word on the Epstein matters anymore. Yeah, so I don't know what's true about him, but we have yet to see anybody come forward and say, I was I was under 10. I was under 14 when I first came within his.
Trying to create a distinction between oldest dude, 10-year-olds versus 10-year-olds is, you know, it's you're trying real hard right now. I notice I see this in the background. My tripping over is that Hebrew, which would explain so much. If that's Hebrew, and I'm pretty sure it is, this whole segment right here makes perfect sense. Oh, it definitely is. I'm tripping. There it go. That's what this is really about. You know, he was a tiny hat, so yeah, he wasn't that. He just like the 15-year-olds. All right, man. Craig says somebody trying not to disappear. Yeah, or somebody trying to keep their money going. Because look, she's standing next to who is really the one behind the scenes moving the needle. So we know what that's about. The Epstein thing said, we'll see how far it goes. Shout out to Candace Owens. She been at their neck for a while. Keep up. Shout out to Candace Owens. She's still on their neck, and they, you know, they on her ass, but it is what it is. Let me play something. A couple videos by her. Let me show a little Candace points.
After listening to over 100 hours of Owens' podcast,
This is somebody critiquing her, and then she's going to end up going back at her.
certain terms kept catching my ear.
Trump is controlled by Zionists. I feel like
Because if you don't know, there's a narrative, there's a talking point we're starting to see a lot more black people use, which is they're trying to make black people the face of quote unquote anti-Semitism. We saw it with Kanye West and a few others. They're trying to make black people the face of it to give it more attention to it. Because if a white person is anti-Semitic, quote unquote, they just say, oh, he's just a racist. He's just a, you know, it is what it is. But if a black person doing it, they can say it's a real problem in the world. Even black people hate us, you know. It is what it is.
we're an occupied nation. And now what's happening? Well, we have an occupied administration. There's no question. Trump is occupied by Zionists. Okay. He's completely impotent. He's completely powerless. He cannot say anything that goes against Israel or Bibi Netanyahu. He's letting them do whatever they want.
You can criticize Netanyahu without being anti-Israel, and you can criticize Israel without being anti-Semitic. But some of the themes, talking points, concepts you've used in your criticism of Israel, I'm very familiar with from covering white nationalists for 10 years. It's
See,
very
you see that? She's compared. Well, I'm gonna say this, Candace. Unfortunately, you've done things that definitely could be compared to white nationalism, but that's not even the point. They're using her talking points against Israel and saying that's juxtaposition to, that's comparable to white nationalists, these groups, these Proud Boys and stuff. They say the same thing as y'all. When she might be speaking from it from a perspective of truly America, the president of the country is unwilling to criticize or separate us from another country for some reason we're not allowed to say publicly, apparently.
unsettling for me to hear things like you saying our government is occupied by Zionists, Trump is occupied by Zionists, we're an occupied nation. Because like there's literally a term that's like an 80s, 90s term from white nationalism, ZOG, Zionist occupied government. It's their idea that Jews control the world. And I'm wondering, like, are you intentionally referencing those kind of themes?
Wait, just to slow this down. Are you accusing me of white nationalist rhetoric? Because I do have to have a little bit of a giggle about that first.
Well, that's, I mean, to me, I'm also like, they'd be no fan of yours.
It's just, it's silly. But this is one of the things where I feel like it's such a lesson for CNN. This is why nobody watches it anymore. I mean, it's like you're sitting across from a black person, you're like, I've learned about white nationalism, and you're using white nationalist rhetoric.
Like, I
It's
know
silly.
them, I've been
It's
to their
silly.
rallies, I've read all their texts.
I get it, I know. I'm so glad you're educated. But this is when it's like, put it in a book and anybody will say it. It's like, it's just, at a certain point you have to use your eyes and go, is Candace Owens promoting white nationalist rhetoric? Okay, immediately no. So what else could it be? Could it be that actually Zionism is what it actually represents?
What does that mean? Like, we're literally
Zionism is a political
occupied?
philosophy. Okay?
Zionist occupied government.
If you look into the history, yes, I believe we are a Zionist occupied government, and we're not the only one. Okay, yes, and I take it to the bank. If you need to walk out of here and say Candace Owens is a white nationalist for you to be able to digest it, then that's fine. You know, you have to deal with that in your own time. But
like,
what I will say is,
maybe
I
this stuff is
stand
ambient,
by.
and that's where you
I
picked
stand
it
by
up.
every statement that I made, and I want to double down on it. Okay, America is occupied by Zionists.
The Zionist occupied government meme is so old it predates memes. Here's the Wikipedia entry. Here's an archive of the most fascist board on 4chan. Over.
You realize that this is just saying influence, right? That's like saying China has influence over another country and calling it a communist occupied country. Well, yeah, they have influence. If they're paying boatloads of money and using honeypot situation to get influence with your elected officials, a government is occupied. That's it's the same thing. You're just making it out to be an anti-Semitic thing because it's going against what you deem to be just one group when it's not.
450,000 results.
Anyway, let me show her response now. I'm sorry. I wanted to show.
They is a word, so like I don't need to always like say they. Like it's just a weird. It's like this is one of these psychology tactics where you're like, who is they? Who is they? And it's like,
Because it sounds like you're saying Jews.
does the word they mean Jews?
When you're talking about Jews, yes.
But if I'm not talking about Jews, then they doesn't mean Jews. When I say they want us to believe this or they want us to believe that, and you hear Jews, that's your own derangement, right? If I want to say something about Jews, I'll say it. If I want to say something about Israel, I will say it. If I want to, just like when I want to say something about black people, I'll say it. When I was saying during BLM, they want us to believe, nobody said, do you mean Jews? And so again, it's one of these trash tactics to make people fearful to speak. If I want to say,
hold on, they kind of were during the Black Lives Matter thing. When people use the word they actually were talking about Jews. They was talking about Soros and all them. So, they kind of were talking about Jews.
fearful to speak. If I want to say Jews, I will say Jews. I don't fear saying Jews. When I say Zionists run the media, I mean Zionists run the media. People that support the political ideology of Israel run the media. Any other things that I can help clarify?
But are you familiar with this like very long-standing trope?
Couldn't
that
give a shit about a trope.
Hey man, she one of those people where when she right. You can't. When she right, and she stand on it too. I respect it about her. Speaking of standing on stuff, though, as you know, Mom Donnie won his position in New York. He beat Cuomo, and I believe now for a fact that Travis was right. Trump might have just played the poison pill role for Cuomo. I think he knew that the second he got behind him, that the Democrats were less likely to overwhelmingly support him over Mom Donnie. And there were going to be at least a number of people that were willing to not even vote for him because Trump is behind you. This is in New York, obviously, very liberal New York. But he was invited to the White House, Mom Donnie. And this right here, this little thing right here happened.
Clarify your answer to Stephen Nelson. He asked about your comment calling the president a fascist, and your answer was, both President Trump and I have been clear about our positions and our views. Are you affirming that you think President Trump is a fascist?
I've spoken about...
That's okay. You can just say yes.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's easier.
Yes.
It's easier than explaining it. I don't mind.
Hey, man. Trump is... Trump told him, man, go ahead and just say I'm a fascist. I don't mind. It's easier than trying to explain it. But at least he was about to at least stand on it. Maybe. Then I saw this right here too. Because people just always got to do too much. Somebody decided to make an AI video of Mom Donnie and Trump fighting. And it was actually sad how many people thought this was real, because this is one you can kind of tell is AI. But people actually was falling for this. And this is about to start going viral until a community note came up and let it be known. This is AI. The comments were like, y'all, this is clearly fake. This is not real. Trump just go ahead and tell him I'm a fascist. It's easier than explaining it. He don't care. Trump don't give a damn. Trump said, I'm out of here anyway. I'm gonna walk away from this presidential office with about 20 billion. And y'all can kiss my ass. I'm out. Oh yeah. The FEMA scandal that happened last year. Representative Sheila, the only reason she's been indicted is because she's black. She was caught stealing $5 million in FEMA money. If I'm not mistaken, she is Caribbean, this woman. Let me play this.
Look forward to my day in court so I can prove myself and actually state the truth. But if this is what Congress is becoming, where they're always trying to intimidate you, scare tactics, especially attacking minorities, black and brown people, then we're going to have to keep fighting for the district. And everybody has been giving me so much support, and we're going to keep fighting until the district gets what it needs, which is fair prices, housing, and fair representation.
We over this. I said it earlier to start the show. Whenever you do dirt now, don't bring up race. Don't bring up black. If you get caught doing dirt, deal with the repercussions. So, and that's going to lead into this next conversation I want to get into. Chris said black and brown. Exactly. Sick of it. We gotta have a come to God moment. Chicago mom describes being brutally attacked while protecting kids outside of Southside school. I'm sure y'all probably saw this. It was crazy. Let me play this here. This is from Hype. They used to be called Comedy Hype. Congratulations to them for stop keeping up the facade that they gave a damn about comedy, and they were really into drama and news. So thank you for finally getting rid of the word comedy out of your name. Anyway, let's watch them do a recap of the situation.
Reporting live from Hypers Club in Atlanta for Hype Plus News, I'm John Abba. Earlier this week, parents and community members would surround Orville T. Bright Elementary School in Chicago in response to a now viral video of a mother and her 9-year-old son being attacked by a group of kids. In the video, the mother would seemingly confront kids who were bullying her son, only to be met with punches and kicks by the group of children. The beating she would receive was so bad that the mother and her son were both taken to a nearby hospital. This incident would cause many to be outraged, not just at the kids for what they did, but also the parents for not doing a better job in raising them.
I'm going to be the one to say it because ain't nobody else going to say it. But to all the parents of those Chicago kids that jumped their mother and her 2 babies, y'all need to be at court on Monday.
Children like that, I'm going to beat your ass.
Hey, man, when I saw this, and I see people always make this point that, oh, this is proof how things are getting so bad and how it's not the same as it used to be. We don't respect our elders. And I'm saying, no, I think the difference is everything is recorded and reported on a much easier scale. National news is truly easier to TikTok and X and all these other places give you information instantly. So you see all the trash that's happening every day if you want to. If you're not blocking that stuff or ignoring it, you're going to see all of it every day. But a lot of this stuff is not new.
I'm not going to even lie to you. Don't come to me in these goddamn comments talking about some, oh, children, this and this. Man, I'm going to beat the out of a child. I don't give a damn. Bitch, I'm going to hold a child accountable because I'm going to beat your ass. And then guess what? I'm going to say, what the your mama at? I'm going to walk to the door and I'm going to beat her ass.
Reportedly, one of the connected parents would speak out about her daughter being involved. On a Facebook post, she would write, "Let me say this first. My daughter is a great ass kid. She's an AB student."
What they got to do with your daughter being a part of a mob to attack a mother and a kid?
Captain of the cheerleading team, ahead of her class, and some more shit. All good things from every teacher. If you know, you know. We don't owe nobody an apology, but that lady and her kids. So y'all all grown mother effers looking for a viral moment. Please shut the F up, cause kids gonna be kids.
No. Kids are not going to jump a mother and the son. That's not happening with most kids.
And it's kids out here that did way worse shit.
We not talking about what the other kids did. We talking about what yours did.
Let alone y'all ass when y'all was 12 and 13 years old. Y'all ass used to be out here beating up crackheads and all. Y'all don't know us at all. She was peer pressured. If you know my family, you know if we find a friend and a mother effer, and we gonna stand behind them 100%.
See, that's the problem right there. That's a problem right there. What up, Regina? Hey, y'all, people are acting fair on camera and video just like you stated. Craziness. That's the problem right there. All the excuses. And see, this goes along with the issue where you got Pookie selling drugs in the neighborhood or doing some other crazy activity where he don't end up harming somebody, probably gonna kill somebody, and grandmama let him hide in that house for a week or two because that's her baby. That's her grandbaby. Well, no, this person is a terrorist to the neighborhood, and you need to let them get justice so they possibly can do something to get right. Some people need to go sit down for a few years in prison. I said it. Some people need to go sit down for a little bit. Or like Umar said, some of them need to take the long sleep. Some of these people, if your daughter is 12, 13 years old, and she's being peer pressured into going with her friends and putting hands on an adult woman in the sun, sending them to the hospital. At 13, she's doing that. What you think she gonna be pressured to do when she's 18, 20, 25? If she's already around a group of kids that's willing to put hands on people and that type of bullies, what do you think they turn into when they turn 21? You think they're just gonna be some upstanding, college-educated, HBCU going kids? Not all of them. Let's be blunt. Let's be honest. Not all of them. So what happened when your daughter, 21 years old, decided that she wanted to go hang out with the wrong crowd of boys and girls, and they decide, hey, go knock on that door and tell them to come outside. She go knock on the door, they come outside and they start shooting. Not only did she possibly get somebody killed, she ended up getting herself killed or put inside of a case, and now she's serving life, or she lose her life. Maybe you should check it now so that it don't spread. Maybe that's the thing you should be trying to do. Craig says, more black girl magic. Oh, we about to get into this black girl magic in a second. Craig says, some of them going to sleep for good. For good! Some of them got to be put down. And I'm not talking about these kids in particular. I'm saying that when you see something like this, all the parents involved, because shout out to the people that actually went outside and protested this. We always say how, black people don't protest when something happened within the community. It only happened when a white person or somebody outside of the community do something to us. Shout out to that community, regardless of how many it was, getting together and letting it be known them kids need to be punished, and the parents do too. This is intercommunal. We don't want to hear that black stuff. I help the community. This is intercommunal. We need to deal with it amongst us. Shout out to them.
No matter what, but this is definitely a lesson learned. She was held accountable for her actions. Y'all talk about it takes a village. She got a castle, the F, and everybody standing 10 toes behind her. I was never.
That the village is the people that's saying that she need to be punished. It's not just your immediate family. It's the people in the neighborhood. Because your kid don't just affect the family. She affect the neighborhood. She affect the city. Really, she affect the entire nation, but we're not even getting to that whole deep. We're going to stick to just the neighborhood. The people in the neighborhood are protesting, saying stuff. You do owe them apology. You definitely do.
Never going to go live making y'all mother effers feel no type of way. Once again, we do not owe y'all no apology. F y'all. Mother effers know what's going on in real life. And know my kids not raised like that at all.
See, you spending so much time trying to defend your parenting that you're not acknowledging that there was a failure and you need to fix it. Instead, you're trying to spend all this time defending your parenting.
Feel how y'all want. F y'all. Now, of course, this strong response from the alleged mother would cause other parents to be upset, as one user would respond back with, "You can't even come on this app as a parent of a child who just committed a crime and show remorse to that family. You're defending your child and trying to save her character when you should be giving her consequences to her actions. It's always my kid is a great kid after they committed a crime. Your child made the first viral moment, and this shady, ratchet, distasteful post by you created the second viral moment. Instead of trying to save face, go handle your kid and make up what she did to that woman and her 2 beautiful kids. People be killing me trying to play victim after they were the ones who created the issue." Now, it would appear that the alleged child of that mother would later take to social media to issue a tearful apology. The video will start off with a family friend warning viewers to be respectful because a young girl is a child.
We're just coming live so she can say her piece and take accountability. I won't say too much, and please.
There was no need to put it on the internet. She is underage. She's a minor. There was really no need to put her face on the internet for this, especially if it's not meant to actually be to show the consequences of anything.
Anyone that decides to say anything, keep it respectful. This is the child.
Hey, my name is Kamira Grant, and I was wrong for everything.
Now, after the apology, some assumed the woman in the video was the girl's fault.
We can skip this.
The future. Hashtag.
This is the one who started talking about the things she do for the community and stuff.
To support them.
All those people who saying it ain't no village no more, you an ugly ass, black ass lie. You want to know why I know it's a village? Because I'm part of it. I just tried to redirect a little boy in JJ's Fish on North Avenue in Laramie the other day. You know what that little mother did? He FaceTimed his mama. Do you know what his mama said? up out of there before I have to come tear that motherfucker up. Ma'am, your son already in here tearing it up. All I did was told him, don't climb on the people's ATM machine. You can't say shit to y'all kids. That's the problem. All you bitches think y'all baddies. Y'all stuck in a reality loop. Y'all keep watching baddies over and over again. Why you 40 plus going to audition for baddies? Tend to your kids. Y'all are failing your children, like I said.
Now on Tuesday night, a part of his 5150 show, Chicago native Corey Holcomb will respond to the viral video and will point out
Lord, Corey.
how times have changed. According to him, there was a lot more respect back in the day.
I'm telling you, man, I'm from the projects, homie. I'm from where it go down. But when I was growing up, nobody would run up on your mama. Gangbangers, grown or not, would not run up on you while you was with your mama because there was still respect in the community. If your mama came and picked you up from school and walked with you, gangbangers would be like, nah. Okay, you with your mama. There was still enough respect in the community where a family was given a pass. Now, nothing. I can sit up here and tell you, the kids can get it. The presence of a strong male is gone. So the children are going to run amok and get gunned down as they home invade people's house.
Now,
this is where I always say that sound good, but you can't let me see stories from the 80s of little 13-year-old boys selling crack to 40-year-old men and women. You can't show me stories of the teenage boys who was carrying around weapons, shooting up parties. Somehow, how did all these 8-year-old little girls and little boys getting killed through these stray bullets? How did that happen? You can't tell me that everything was roses and respect, and there was street rules that was in effect in back in those days when it clearly wasn't. There's plenty of stories of the youth doing something to their elders violently. So I think that people just kind of look back at things and rewrite history, try to whitewash things and make it seem like it wasn't as bad as it was. But no, in the 80s and the 90s, early 2000s, they were doing the same thing. As a matter of fact, crime numbers went down in the last 30 years, but that's a whole nother point.
outside of other solutions being highlighted like tougher parenting, it appears that Chicago has noticed an issue with some of its kids and have been thinking of solutions. Back in 2023, Chicago Councilman Ray Lopez will propose that parents get fined up to $5,000 if their child is involved in any public unruly behavior. According to the New York Post, under Lopez's proposal, any legal guardian who willfully or knowingly allows their child to engage in a host of offenses, wreaking havoc on the quality of life in Chicago neighborhoods, would be subject to fines ranging from $1,000 to $5,000. The offenses range from panhandling, underage and public drinking, cannabis use, violating curfew, and climbing on cars to street takeovers and drag racing.
You know, it's crazy. This was already a thing. This never needed to be a law. This was a community thing. If your kid did something, you were the one who had to take the blame for what the kid did. That was historically. Even now, when kids skip school, there's truancy laws that affect the mother or the parents. They're the ones that got to pay a fine or possibly serve jail time. So it shouldn't need to be this far for parents to know that you are responsible for what your kid do in public. It's unfortunate.
The mother in the now viral video has since been released from the hospital and has begun to demand that the school system in Chicago do more to protect their students from bullying. So let's talk about it more in the comments below.
So as you can see at the end of that video, Corey Holcomb came to the conclusion that he believed it's a lack of a male authority. That the lack of a male authority has led to the youth running amok. And obviously that can be true when you don't have a strong foundation. Obviously it's going to lead to fractures, obviously. But I want to show some other things. So something that came directly from that. Shout out to Mark Gordon for sending this. Mark sent this. And to me, it's like the undercurrent to this whole story with the kids. The understory is this here. I'm not going to play the whole video because it's 19 minutes long. I just need this first segment. Right here. Now, if y'all remember, about a couple years ago, there was a viral moment that happened where an Asian nail salon or hair salon or whatever, they were violent towards two black women who were giving them business. And they had that protesters came, and the protesters were black men. They came out there. He came there. He checked the place, and he let it be known, this is not how we moving. Show respect, yada yada yada. And he was basically trying to shut the place down, basically saying if you disrespect our community, you're not doing business here no more. So while these black men are out there protesting this place, out there standing on business, letting me know we shutting this down, black women came out there, argued with them, basically telling them, move, I'm trying to go in the store. The man is telling them, no, we're not doing business with them. They disrespecting black women. The Asian people did a sale, like half price off, 50% off sale. Black women walked right past the black men, went right into the store and gave them business, which was very telling to some people. It's like, how can you protect the group that just don't respect your authority at all? They looking at it like, forget all that. They're giving us business. They're giving us half price on something. We don't care what they did. They ain't do it to me. Let me play this here.
No, it's bigger than the school system. It's our community. I'm telling you, as black men.
Public schools should be able to control their kids.
Sister, all I'm saying is, when you see a black man taking responsibility for the bullshit that's happening to our community, y'all gotta learn to stand down.
So this black man is standing out there telling them, the reason why the kids are acting like this is our fault. To my black men, it's our fault. We not doing what we supposed to do. The black woman is saying, no, it's the school system. The private schools keep their kids in check. The public schools should too. And he's like, it's not the school's job to raise your kids. It's us. It's not their job. Their job is to teach them the criteria that's supposed to be given by the school system. That's all they're supposed to teach. They're not supposed to raise them. He's trying to take the blame for it, but she doesn't want that to happen. He's telling her you got to stand down.
Sister, all I'm saying is, when you see a black man taking responsibility for the bullshit that's happening to our community, y'all gotta learn to stand down. Y'all gotta stop this. It's not a war between us. It's not a war. Let that go with that. Hey, what you doing?
It's the way you can. It's the way you can.
No, it's not, sister. Yeah, everybody wrong. We dealing with them, but we here. They not here. We here with you. We here. Who you fighting? Okay, then let me finish.
I'm fighting for what's right, my brother. I'm a true love man, and I'm going to tell you, I'm going to fight for what's right. Them slaves watched that lady get jumped on and they didn't do nothing.
Cause they know me. I'm done. I'm good. Y'all deal with her. They don't want to pray. They want to fight. And that ain't going. You're broken fighting. They getting billions of dollars to non-citizens while we out here crying.
About no man. This ain't about no woman standing down or nothing. If we ain't out here fighting for these kids, who else? Half of these men on the corner drinking 40 ounces, grabbing their balls. But they want us to stand down when it happen. No, we gonna show up and show out. This ain't about no man or no woman standing down. That was the wrong words to use, brother. You supposed to be coming with a prayer. You talking about some women stand down. Hell no, we ain't standing down. Yeah, hell no, we ain't standing down. Y'all men want us to stand down. Y'all need to stand up. Where these fathers at? Go find these fathers. struggling raising these goddamn kids, and the fathers with the next raising the next kids. So this ain't about no, all the women gotta stand down, my put our foots on these necks. What's they? We got our whoops. We got our ass whoops, and I ain't never jumped on no elbow day in my life. You gotta whoop that ass. Y'all, these women scared to lose their low income. They scared to lose their food stamps. If your kids is bad, my mama put me in Hot Grove, Jackson Park, and everything. You want to be out there with them GDs? Go ahead. I was big GD crazy. Still big GD crazy. But I bet you my kids ain't out here whooping on no motherfucking elder folks. I'll put my foot in their motherfucking neck. Them kids need that.
You know, in her rant in particular, you can see there's a lot of resentment, not towards men or women, but just in general of her upbringing. She's speaking a lot about the fear that she said the women have because they're afraid to actually, quote unquote, admonish or whoop the kids' ass because they don't want to lose their low income and stuff. They don't want to lose their social safety net. And that's kind of the point. They've done things in this society to make you feel the need to go up to. You're not allowed to actually raise your kids within your culture in this country or what you deem to be your culture out of fear you'll lose something from the government. That's probably not a way to live. Chris said, this shit is exhausting. Mark says, reminds me of Detroit 400. Black men trying to clean up their community and was making some progress until some black women complained. Yeah, they were going around. They pretty much, I remember they made that video saying, hey, all the criminals and gang members, leave. If you're not going to leave, you got to stay. You got to get a job. And if you're not going to get a job or help build yourself up, you got to leave. You would think that would be something that would be overwhelmingly supported. Anybody who's willing to be a negative to this community got to go. If you're willing to build yourself up, you can stay. And at some point down the line, when they kept doing these things where they were going on their patrols and stuff, I saw somebody say they felt unsafe seeing a bunch of random men walking around. And it's like, wait, you feel unsafe in your community seeing these group of black men walking around with the intentions of protecting people? You would rather see some cop? All right, man. This shit lost. Shit is over.
All of them boys, this is my best friend that just passed. All of them boys whooping on a grown lady. It's too many women out here. Ain't enough men out here. So us women, that little girl, it ain't enough men out here. It ain't enough men out here to say us women gotta stand down. That's crazy. This ain't about no man or woman thing.
They was throwing bikes at my window.
Yeah.
They tore my backyard up. I was gonna go up there killing my husband, stop me. The same kids out there fed when they was hungry. The same kids out there fed when they was hungry.
And the women will turn against the children from their bosom. So you have the adults. Now they're using this. The reason why I'm showing this right here is they're using these kids doing this stupid thing they did. And they're now lashing out at the kids in general in the neighborhood. They're letting everything out. These kids is backwards. They don't know what they're doing. They're disrespectful. So they're not even talking about these kids that beat on this woman and the kid. Now they're talking about in general, the youth in general. So you have these women crying out saying these kids are terrible. The woman said she almost went and killed her husband. Her husband stopped her from going to kill some kids who was doing something outside her house. Like, it's bad, man. It's pretty bad. And as the man is sitting there telling them, you have to stop thinking that you have to be the one to stand in front of everything. You can't stand in front of all of it. That's part of the reason why you have so much pain now. You're trying to be in front of everything. You're trying to be the head of everything. It's not going to work. And it goes along with this right here. Let me show this. This is Yolanda Adams.
I don't think that God is this small entity that people are trying to make him or her or it, because he is spirit. Because we are of the mind of calling things, because we are of the trying to make him or her or it, because he is spirit. Because we are of the mind of calling things, gender wise, because that's how we grew up. I'm just going to continue to say if he was gonna be surprised by you, he wouldn't.
Wait, is this dude smoking weed? Ain't she a Christian? Hey,
created you, because it's like, how you think God is surprised just because you're surprised? And if he made all things, and if he created all things, God is a God of variety. God is a God of diversity. We wouldn't have a million genuses of flowers if he were not. I just believe that.
You know, it's funny because they say this stuff, and the Bible tells you that God has one mind. He's literally the opposite of everything.
God entrusts us with his power to make the world.
In the Bible, it literally says he does not change. Literally, it's not. He's not for diversity. He is for separation. It's you know, it's funny when you listen to these people that call themselves a Christian or say their beliefs for years, 20, 30, 40 years. You've been hearing these people say these things. You're talking about pastors, people that go to church every day of their life since they was 35 and they 59 years old. And you go, you don't know nothing you're talking about. You don't read that book at all. He is literally the opposite of everything she just said. And then she started with he, her, or it. And that's going to piss off a lot of the Christians because she's saying basically God has no gender. He's fluid, I guess. And then this goes along with my belief that regardless of your beliefs, you cannot believe the Bible at all. You think it's all just fairy tale stuff. You could think you don't believe in the Quran or Buddha. None of these religions you could think are worth a damn. But the fact is these religions are built on certain things. Christianity is a monotheistic religion, which means one God, and he is, in according to their belief and their system, is a male. It's a man. And verses revert themselves as man, male. This goes along with the idea of the lack of respect for masculine authority anymore. And also the penis envy, the constant attempt to rephrase things or change things to the opposite gender. We've seen it in movies now. You can't look at a movie now and what a character that was male in the 90s, 80s, 70s, they bring it back now and it's a woman. They started with changing the race. So a lot of the times the white people would get mad when they would take a historically Caucasian character and make it black. Now they're doing it with gender. And you're seeing a lot of pushback for that too. Although I will say, shout out to that TV show Dairy. Dairy did it the right way. I like that TV show. They changed the characters a little bit. Very good show. But anyway, Keeper says she sounds confused. Regina said, I agree with Yolanda. It's perspective 100%. And I was raised in a Pentecostal church. Never did buy into what was being taught, which is why I moved on from religion. The Bible says he always are not our way. His ways are not our ways. Exactly. He doesn't not, you can't think like him. But also tell you he doesn't change his mind. So something he said or believed or he stamped is forever. He's not confused. He doesn't learn new things. If you believe in that, if you believe in the Bible, if you believe in the idea of an all-knowing being, they can't learn nothing new. So why would they change their mind? That doesn't make sense. But as I was saying, the lack of the penis envy, the desire to make everything upside down and backwards. And I want to show this right here. Shout out to Soul Food. Let me play this right quick.
And with a black wife, we'll probably be more accepting to it. Most of them be black with white wives, and after
she's talking about Republicans, she's saying that black people would be more supportive of Republicans who had a black wife. And then Mark sent this too, I think, versus the opposite. Most of them, she's saying, have white wives, which is why they don't get support.
You know for a fact with us.
I think that's what got Obama in office.
Michelle did that. Michelle single-handedly.
Barack had a white wife. I don't think he.
Oh, but Barack had a white wife. We would not. Yeah. We would not be going for him as hard as we do.
You know what's funny? I say this all the time, but it's just a fact that needs to be said. Obama did not win as much of the black female vote in the primary against Hillary. A good chunk of black women still voted for Hillary Clinton over Obama. It wasn't until Obama won that primary versus Hillary did he get just all the support from black people. So that it's kind of funny that she's saying that now.
And
That's scientific.
And giving all the credit to Michelle, because Michelle wasn't necessarily enough to get all that credit in the primaries. But anyway, besides the point, besides that.
I think that's why a lot of black men didn't want to, some black men didn't want to vote for Kamala Harris too.
Because of Doug? Doug didn't bother me.
Hey, man. She came up with all this. She had all this belief in this theory. Oh, he only won because of the black wife. I think that this would happen. And then went, oh, well, I think Kamala might have lost support because of her relationship. She said, he didn't bother me.
Michelle single-handedly.
Barack had a white wife. I don't think he.
Oh, but Barack had a white wife. We would not.
And
we would not be going for him as hard as we do.
And
that's scientifically proven.
I think that's why a lot of black men didn't want to. Some black men didn't want to vote for Kamala Harris too.
Because of Doug. Doug didn't bother me.
But it'll bother you if a black male have a white wife.
Huh? You just said.
You just said that. We just said it.
I said I think if you present it to us, I think we're more accepting to it.
What you mean presented like just show? Hey, I got a white wife.
No. How you just asked me a black Republican? I said I think we'll be more accepting to if it's with a with a black wife.
You know what I'm saying? But what if he had the right message and everything, but he had a white wife?
You have to work a little bit harder.
But compliment.
Because here is the thing.
Buddy on her ass about that.
It goes to that thing of how can you choose black for everything but your love?
Kamala.
I think that's really what it goes back to.
So why is not the standard for Kamala?
Unfortunately, we have that standard
for women,
higher for men than we do for women. I can call that out, right? Because I can be the first. I say any day of the week. If I see a black man with a white woman, I'm like, that's that deep ass self-hate, my nigga. You need to do something about that, right? Flip that same coin. I see my sister with a man, I'm gonna say.
Notice she said black man, but she referred to black man as a sister. The sisterhood. She didn't say her brother. She said a black man.
Girl, go where you loved. So I get that. And I can honestly say that's a bias I probably need to check. Do I plan on checking it today? Hell no.
You need to.
Do I plan on checking it in 10 years? Probably hell no. I don't give a damn.
I call them wenches.
You can call me a wench all day long. I don't give a damn. You know how many wenches you got in your life? All of us. Because we probably all say the exact same thing, honey. I'm just okay saying that shit out loud.
And that's why
a lot of them won't.
I don't think, and that audience, not saying you, but.
You can call me a wench.
No, I'm not. I'm just saying that's just slavery term. You know.
Is that where that came from?
Yeah, a bed wench. The white man had a group of concubines, black women. He would sleep with. They call them wenches. That's where we got that from. Now you view that a little bit different, though.
I think if
Lord, crazy that Doug don't bother me. Fucking typical. And Kamala ain't even black. Yeah, the fact that and it goes on to show that they keep saying this double standard, and they have this higher standard for black men, and they'll start talking about numbers and there's black men incarcerated, and you got to deal with the sexuality and black men who are not worthy because they're they're not financially stable and all this other stuff. So there's a smaller pool of qualified black men and women. It's like, wait, there are lesbian black women. There are black women who are not qualified to be in a relationship for financial or other reasons, whether it be they're not motherly, they don't have certain feminine attributes. Like, it ain't just this idea that every black woman is the perfect sculpture of a wife material, but there's only a few black men worth it. It's just it's crazy. They say this stuff out loud and stand on it. Like, it's just a fact. Like, this is normal to say. We can say this. It's insane. But let me show this, because somebody posted 2 pages from old books. He said, this is American sexual culture. Interesting what side and women who think like her on. This is what they were saying about black women in these old books. The Negro in the United States is looked upon by many white persons mainly as a sexual being. He constitutes a menace to the purity of the white race. His presence bears a threat of racial amalgamation. And industrial and political relations fade into the sort of unreality when the question of sex is raised as between colored and white people. Among white Americans is developed a species of hysteria. The black man must not invade a white man's sexual preserve. The violent emotions to which sex jealousy gives rise in personal relations find their counterpart in particular outbreaks. For the Negro man, there is one unpardonable crime in the United States, and that is transgression of the code which makes white women inaccessible to all except white men. In some 29 states, marriage between white persons, let me show this. So basically, the black man not supposed to be with the white woman. Interracial marriage was not the same for black male, white female partnerships as it was for white male, black female partnerships. In 1960 census revealed that 60% of interracial marriages involved a white man and a black woman, which we already knew. By the way, the woman who helped pass the interracial marriage law, obviously found out that woman was apparently Native American. So it's funny how the history of dating in America is still ingrained, particularly in black women's mind, which is the gatekeeping that black men should not ever be with white women, but they should be accessible to other races of men. As they call it, what's the term they use? Mate guarding, as they call it. They tell you there's not enough black men, qualified black men, but we outnumber them. But there's always enough of us, and we got to step out and deal with other people. Then we get to, I want to show this. May I meet you? Billionaire Bill Ackman's dating tip fuels media storm. I just want to show this headline. I want to show this. This is a billionaire Bill Ackman. Now, I mentioned earlier about the billionaires and their influence they've had on society, trying to change the social norms. They did things on purpose to create this chasm between men and women. And obviously, as the old saying goes, if America's sick with the cold, black people got the flu. I hear from many young men that they find it difficult to meet young women in public setting. In other words, the online culture has destroyed the ability to spontaneously meet strangers. As such, I thought I would share a few words that I used in my youth to meet someone I found compelling. I would ask, "May I meet you?" Before engaging further in the conversation, I almost never got a no. It inevitably enabled the opportunity for a further conversation. I met a lot of really interesting people this way. I think the combination of proper grammar and politeness was the key to its effectiveness. You might give it a try. And yes, I think it should also work for women seeking men as well as the same-sex interactions. Just 2 cents from an older, happily married guy concerned about our generation's happiness and population replacement rates. Now, Mark Gordon sent a video by, what's his name? Emery? I forgot to say his name. The dude that I found out about through Yvette Carnell. I think his father is like Ghanaian or something. His mother's Black American. And he speaks on political, financial stuff that deals with black people in America, the political system. He made a video talking about the male loneliness epidemic, where he said it's not just about sex, it's about politics and jobs. Basically, women don't see, as I said earlier, enough men as being qualified. They're better than these men. And it gets worse when you get towards women that have college degrees and are upper echelon in the corporate America and stuff. They start to deem like, hey, some of y'all ain't worth my time. So it makes the dating situation harder when, as much in America at least, as much as when the male and female dynamic goes further left and right politically, the men are leaning towards more stronger conservative views, allegedly, and it's showing women are spinning left towards the more liberal. So it's creating this big problem where people don't even get along as a political, you don't even agree on what the issues is. And we talking about specifically with black people. If your whole plan is totally opposite of what I deem to be what's necessary to fix the community, let alone us actually meeting each other, dating, having kids, and moving forward in life, it just can't happen. And then on top of that, the economy, the different ways society affects black men and black women, the different barriers, it just creates more and more of a problem. And that's what they meant to do. When this country decided to allow the other half of the country to work It had nothing to do with fairness. It was about, hey, we can tax the other half of the country with the women. We let them work. We let them go to colleges and stuff and get themselves in debt. We can make more money. We're literally costing ourselves money by not allowing them to move upwardly in this country. And the more the women move upward in society, the more difficult relationships become, which is why you see the marriage rate going crazy. You see the marriage divorce rate going higher. You see marriages happening way less, way less. It's because this is what they wanted. And that's why you see the population is, or should I say the birth rate is really, really low because they want the population to shrink, which is why even in Mexico, the Mexicans, and we're going to get to them in a second, the more of them come in, they come here, first couple generations, they have their cultural beliefs, they marry, they have a certain things they go about, but by the time you get to the second generation, maybe third, they talking just like the everyday American. You know, they not talking about getting married at the age of 25 and stuff like that. They're talking about, I need a dude that got this, and this. You know, and if relationships now are all about stability, financial stability, then who's the most financially stable demographic? And that's why everybody's shooting for that one demographic. Now that demographic becomes the 1%, and now they have their pickings with all those other women, which is why you see the increase in interracial dating and stuff. That's kind of what happens. Mark says America never wanted to let go of slavery at all. Virginia says the melanin soul is a complicated one full of hypocrisies. Moors enslave white women, they're concubining, but black women enslaved by white men as bedouins. You don't say. But it's the same thing. The Moors referred to them as concubines and sex slaves and stuff. It wasn't a situation where those Moors, man, I will say this. The culture difference between those men and Caucasian men were started importing white women to be quote unquote bred, I'm using that word in particular, with these African quote unquote African slaves for babies so they can have more slaves. Like they're different. they don't care. The whole idea of the racial purity happened when slavery in America became more about race, when they started looking towards the conquering spirit got on them, and instead of being talking about, you know, we're no longer under the crown and we're a free people and everybody's free, it turned into no, we free. We've been under people's thumb for a couple centuries. We want some people under our thumb now, you know. So it is what it is. But it's funny hearing a billionaire come out and say, hey, just say hello to him. And nigga, you the reason why the problems exist. Not you in particular, but that class of people, y'all think tanks y'all created, is the reason why there's this big problem between relationships. And it's always going to be that double standard apparently. And then let me show this, because somehow this became a trend and a problem. I'll never forget, every other year or so, maybe even every year, there's a video of black men meeting together in suits. And I don't know why. This video caused so much anger on the internet. They call these men everything but a child of God. And all they do is just get together, do some networking, and they're just wearing suits. And they get called everything. the worst of the worst. And it just don't make sense. Now apparently it's happening with quarter zips. Let me play this.
Maybe I'm too woke, but I don't find the quarter zip shit funny, because I also didn't find it funny a couple years ago when all those black men put on suits and then stood around in suits. I don't understand what men in general, but especially black men's obsession is with defining themselves by their clothing and not.
A man is represented by his countenance. Once again, like regardless if you believe it or not, in the Bible, you are based off of how people perceive you. So you should care about how you look.
Really actively doing any, it's not deeper than just like, well, we can put on suits. I can also put on a suit. What is the point that you're trying to make here? Like, it's like costume. Like, let's dress up as the social idea of success or productivity or decent, productive human being. I don't know. I don't even understand what y'all are trying to communicate to us. Y'all are constantly like essentially dressing up as white men. Like that's.
So this is the problem I get. What does this have to do with white men? What does this have to do with white men? wearing a quarter zip, deciding to change from a Nike Tech, which is owned by white people, it's a white company. Nike Tech is white. It's a corporation by white people. To a quarter zip is me wanting to be white. How I literally going from white clothes to white clothes. Well, I want to be white. Hey, man. Black men fight back. Hey, I'm seeing a lot more people call stuff like this out. Because it's getting to a point where it's been at a point, honestly, where the resentment is so obvious, where the critiques against you is not even, it don't even make sense no more. It's like you just shitting on me. You just shitting on these young dudes on TikTok doing this little trend that's innocent. At least I believe so. Maybe I'm wrong. It's turning into a whole think piece about them wanting to be white. Like, what are we talking about? Now I see if they were making the point verbally, saying, I'm not, like the whole caption they were using was going from a YN to a quarter zip. You said, well, you're trying to say you're going from being hood to being corporate. It's like, no, he was saying I'm going from dressing like this, like black people, to dressing like this, like black people. But anyway, Mark says she wouldn't be complaining if it was the other, with the other. I saw at the same time that there were black dudes walking around in the suits. Maybe a little while later, there was a video that went viral of some black women in their dresses and stuff with their sororities doing the same thing. And there was no critique. And it shouldn't be. It shouldn't be a critique because this is not this serious. Regina says, ain't nobody going to be able to convince me otherwise that people are getting paid for all this nonsense people are talking in these videos. Just like 4 Wars going, yeah. I would love to believe that. But I think the real thing that's happening, and maybe it started out as that from some think tanks in the 70s and when it was pushing this women and women of color, woman unity type thing. And we obviously, there was an agenda behind that with, Wallace and all those people. But besides that, I think at some point it turned into people getting online and finding what they call their tribe. So you got a group of women that go to these colleges, these feminist courses and these intersectional feminists, these gender studies, and they get these beliefs and then they come online and say them, and then you get women that just agree with it, and it creates this community for them. And to other people, by other people, I mean people that's not within that circle, this sounds silly. But this thing is there and it's prominent and it needs to be addressed, and nobody addresses it. They're always talking about the radicalization of young black boys on social media with the red pill content. And I agree. Some of that is egregious. It's crazy. The stuff I've seen some of these dudes say and do is pathetic. But this internet thing is a two-way street. There's also these, you got the incels on the male side. You got the femcells too. And this is all internet speak. This is only stuff that people know about if you're on the internet enough to see it. And unfortunately, I'm on here probably way too much. But yes.
Kind of the underlying idea, suits, quarter zips, like associating yourself with this like stereotypically white style.
Black men wore suits too. As a matter of fact, your great grandfather probably only wore suits his whole life. You probably know your great grandfather might have wore jeans, probably can count on his hand. Like that was how you dressed back then. So that's, I don't know how that's white. Now, if you said corporate, that'd be a different thing. But anyway, and I ain't even been showing a video. I've been, this is the young lady here. Let me make sure you see her face. And these are the quarter zips that they was wearing. And you can see he goes from Nike Tech to quarter zip. He dressed in more corporate attire, more formal attire. I'm sorry. Yeah, I don't understand. But anyway, moving on. Let me get to this, because the more that there's a constant attack on the attempt or desire for there to be more male leadership in certain categories, certain rooms, environments, it's gonna lead to a constant lack of gatekeeping the culture correctly. It's gonna be able to police, not gonna be able to police the community correctly if the people that need to be in authority are not. So So I want to show this too. Let me get to this. Honorary FBAs.
People really like to bring up
Shout out to Mark.
equivalencies to validate their experiences, but it's dangerous because some of them are trying to erase us and to make their experience more valid. So they'll say, "Oh yeah, well I'm first generation Caribbean, and African, but you know I've been here my whole life. I've never been back to Korea. I only know about Black folks, so I'm basically y'all." So it's like they try to dip in and out, you know, which is weird because just because you were born here and you haven't been back to your actual homeland, don't make you me. I don't know how it feels to have a homeland to go back to because I'm already in it. So we're not sharing the same experience whether you think so or not. But some of these people will really think like, "Oh well, because I'm in the same space. We go to the same school, so I'm living the same experience as you, and so I don't think I should be excluded from certain insults. So I should be excluded from being pushed out like others, or looked at as others when I'm not other. I'm you, and you're not me.
Like an honorary FBA.
Right.
Yeah.
And you're not me, and it's very weird because we don't do that in other groups.
No.
Like
No.
we've never gone to Jamaica and tried to become like it's weird.
We had an ethnogenesis.
Right.
So there were Black people who were indigenous. We already discussed that, scientifically proven. There was a slave trade. They brought most of them to South America, but they did bring some to, you know, the United States or whatever the case is. And then there was mixing with that. Then you got some European here and there. So there's a mixture of that. But all in all, there was an ethnogenesis. Your name was stripped from you. Your religion was stripped from you. Your culture was stripped from you. Your family. So we had to make something from scratch. We originated with the origin of America. So us in America are rooted together. Okay, we're intertwined. There's no difference. They're not coming with an ethnogenesis. Okay, there's nothing that's cutting off their lineage from the Caribbean or from Africa. Like you saying, they can just go back home. They still got citizenship back there. A lot of them still know the language and all that stuff back there. Yeah. They can go back home and then fit right back in. We can't go anywhere outside of America and just fit in, fit like a glove, because we don't belong anywhere. We belong here. This is our homeland. Now, if you want to leave, you can leave, but you can't leave and go home anywhere else because this is home.
And that's the understanding that's missing. He made the point that some people are able to speak the language, as they would say, your mother's language, the mother's tongue. They're able to speak the language of the country or nation they came from. But we know that some of them purposely do not learn the language or teach the language because they want a complete assimilation. And this is another video. Shout out to Mark that sent this right here. Let me play some of this. I'm not gonna put a whole thing of this one. Let me play some of this one.
I'm gonna say this, then I'm gonna let it go. And I'm saying this as an ethnic Black American who is very familiar with various types of people, being that I grew up amongst various types of people, but also because I was very close to someone at one point who moved here for permanent residence. Permanent, meaning they didn't want to go back home at all, and they wanted their children to be here, and they don't really care if they don't care if their children go back. Okay, many parents who move to the United States of America move so with the intention of never having to have their children or grandchildren return.
Now, in this video, I'm not gonna play the whole thing. She compared this to other demographics, and she made it seem like only so-called melanated immigrants do this, and that's not true. When a German family came to America, or a Ukrainian family came to America, or an English family came to America back in the day, they also purposely don't teach their kids the culture or the language or anything because they want them to go to school and not be othered. How they dress, they don't tell them nothing about matter of fact, you'll see some of these people from Asia or, like I said, Europe or something. They'll get on social media and they'll say, my parents never taught me anything about where they're from. And they do that because they want you to be able to be the first generation that can be fully American. They don't want you to have no other ties to any other culture. They want you to be able to stand on being American. And that's the same thing you're seeing a lot of people from the Caribbean or Africa do sometimes. And I think it's less likely with them actually because they still have a sense of pride in their nation still. So a person from Nigeria or a person from Jamaica, and they bring their kid over here, they'll still make sure they know they're Jamaican. They'll still know certain cultural elements that they come from because there's just that pride there. But I guess you could say there's a difference between Europeans trying to blend in with white Americans and the melanated immigrants trying to blend in with black Americans. They want to do that less because you go from trying to blend in with the people who are at the top versus trying to blend in with the people who are considered at the bottom. So that's why there's a lot more fragmentation that happens amongst so-called melanated people because they don't want to really be associated with you because you're at the bottom. So they make sure when they come here, they let it be known they're from somewhere else because it benefits them early on. Now, as they get older and as time goes on, you kind of got to sign. You kind of got to blend in more with the black people because there's a political and a social connection that they can build off of, whether it be through upward mobility in the country financially or anything else. So they try to play both sides.
And that's just facts.
And that's pretty much the point she was making. I saw this. Sorry. People responded to this right here. Now, these are the people whose parents didn't get over here. These are the people whose parents had to stay. And they're over there trying to build something. So let me show this right here, because this is crazy to me. This is a Nigerian woman. And this is what she said. Black Americans would be so glad their forefathers followed the ship. So I wish she said, luck rehab, because they hate the country so much. They hate being on the continent so much. They wish their forefathers did go through slavery. Now, this also goes along with the what people be saying a lot, which is the people that wanted to swap destinies. As you heard that a lot when people say that they are now openly admitting to wanting a destiny swap, where they want to replace their history with yours. They really want to go through the trauma and the history your people went through to get to the situation you are in now, just because they don't want to be over there. And I've been saying for the longest that a lot of the critique you see from these people from other countries, the Caribbean or African continent, a lot of it is they wish they were here. They think shit's sweet. They think it don't matter what you went through, you there. You have certain access to certain things. Everything should be sweet. I wish my parents were from there because America's a superpower. And then I want to show this too.
Negative. For example, Black British culture is made up of Caribbean people and African people, and it's not a bad thing. There is no such thing as Black British culture without African people and Caribbean people, and there is no such thing as Black American culture without African people and Caribbean people.
What I'm hearing her say is she doesn't think that Black American is a unique ethnic group, because if she's drawing parallels between Black American culture and Black British culture, and basically saying that those are the same concepts, then that means that she does not view Black American people as a unique ethnic identifier, because Black British is only made up of African and Caribbean immigrants.
It's still, even all these years later, it's still shocking they can't get that Black Americans aren't immigrants. They didn't just get here 60, 70 years ago. It has been centuries. It's not the same.
There is no, at least not as far as I know, there is no foundational Black British people who have been there since the inception of Great Britain. At least I don't know. If it is, then I could be wrong, and I'll admit to being wrong. But
in the United States, it's different because if for her to say that there is no Black American culture without Africans and Caribbeans that's just not true. You cannot convince me that Black Africans, Caribbeans, and Black British people
What the hell is a Black African, man?
do not view Black Americans as random, generic, stateless, and nameless Africans.
Well, they've all but said it. What's his name? What's the dude name from Texas? The Nigerian dude from Texas, when he was doing the interview, and he said, "You thought I was regular Black, so you are default. You are, they're the exotic. You're just the default. You're just the normal Black. You're nationless. You don't really have a history except slavery. There's nothing about you that defines you as a culture and in your own ethnicity." And that's what they've said constantly. And this is why they keep trying to tie you to their cultures in their mind, they're giving you, refer to you as Caribbean or African. They're giving you one. They're helping you. They're doing you a favor. It's hilarious. Let me show this here. And part of the thing about being referred to as nationless is you got to deal with two different things, right? You got to deal with the stuff you go through here, then you got to deal with the things foreign. Hold on. So I want to, Mark sent this one too. The things you got to go through is stuff like this when you're in this country. And we talked about something not really similar to this. We talked about, I remember a couple, like last year, there was a story of a Black couple that went to the hospital to deliver a baby, and the doctors ended up killing, according to the mother, led to the death of the child, and they ended up getting paid. The medical maltreatment that we see go through amongst Black people in this country, particularly Black women, is extreme. We know this. So I want to show a new one here.
This morning, a Chicago woman is demanding answers from a hospital she says discharged her while she was in labor. 38-year-old Mercedes Wells says she was having contractions 1 minute apart and knew the baby was coming, but a nurse sent her home.
I was in excruciating pain. She seen me in pain and agony, and I guess she still perceived me to not be in labor.
The family sharing this video of Wells being wheeled out of the hospital. She then gave birth 8 minutes later in her truck on the side of the highway, her husband delivering their baby himself.
It's totally God's grace. I was scared. I didn't know what to do. I don't have any
Shout out to that brother.
medical license, anything to deliver a baby.
Wells says she spent 6 hours at the hospital but never saw a doctor. She blames racial discrimination.
I was stripped of my dignity as a person because I was treated less than an animal.
Can we agree that a woman in active labor should not be sent away without first being seen by a doctor?
The CEO of Franciscan Health Crown Point Hospital responding, saying the video and the comments it has generated are deeply troubling, and we understand the concern this has raised. The video is just one part of the information we are reviewing as part of a thorough investigation into this alleged incident. The good news, the couple says their baby daughter, Alina, is healthy and doing well.
Imagine that. But we've seen stories like this all the time where Black women would tell a doctor their pain tolerance. They'll say, 1 to 10. They say a 7. The doctor will say it was a 4. They automatically assume that you can take more pain and you're lying. They think you're trying to get pain pills because you're addicted or you're trying to sell them. We see that a lot. Virginia says, foreigners are weirdos coming to another person's country to tell us how to be and who we are. Go home, E.T. Now, that's what we got to deal with in America. But I'm going to play her, and she's going to ask a question. Medical apartheid, exactly. Which goes into, let me say this. I see a lot of people, celebrities in particular, who like to open up schools, stuff like that. And I'm like, I get it. But maybe you should also take some of that money to open up, grocery stores and hospitals, so that you have so that black people in particular have more options and not have to rely on these places where they got to deal with this stuff. Now, I'm not saying that going to a black hospital would erase all the problems that black people and black women in particular got to deal with when it comes to medical, because these people still go to college in America. They're still trained by the American system. So some of these doctors, unfortunately, even the black ones, will carry their biases on, even at a hospital for black people, or at least that can be another option for black people. But I wish more options open up, but I don't tell people how to spend their money, but I think enough schools exist. Let's be honest. Schools exist. People just decided not to go to some of them. They just decided not to go. So making more schools ain't going to make kids want to go to school more. That's not a problem it's not always the problem when it comes to options with schooling. It's culture. It's home. That's more of a home thing than a access thing sometimes. But anyway, let me play some of this. And shout out to this sister.
Video of this black creator, and she was basically talking about how, black American culture, is diluted, and they kind of just chalk it up to being American culture. And the fact that everybody has their hands in everything that we do is why we don't get the recognition that we deserve and the recognition that we have earned. And she also brought up the fact that, everybody's always questioning where we come from and trying to force us to have some other identity other than American, because they can't understand how we've been able to thrive and exist within an ecosystem.
Look at Kiva.
And we're surrounded by people that have been trying to oppress us, obliterate us, and literally just erase us and genocide us. We just got to call a spade a spade. And I was like, wow, she put it so eloquently, the things that I've been saying. And I know I'm hood. Sometimes I be hooting and hollering and cussing and yelling. I'm very passionate. But to hear her take, I'm like, this is what I feel like I've been screaming from the rooftops. And even when I, the few times that I do a live and people just don't get it. When everyone is like, well, how could you, what do you mean you're black? What do you mean you're just American? What do you mean you don't have ties to West Africa? Oh, you all just hate yourselves. The amount of harassment that I've experienced, the amount of people trying to tell me who I am. I was listening and
I want to get to this point. Q says she's very, 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 very attractive sister. She asked the question. She said, imagine the utopia black Americans would create if we held our own country with a government run by us. Now, what do y'all think about that? We all say this, well, maybe not all of us, but I've said the same thing, man. If we had our own country, it wouldn't be like this and that, but we have a version of that already. We have cities with mayors. And now in some instances, especially in the American system, you're not going to get the funding you deserve. You're going to have to fight, claw, and scratch for every penny you get for your city. I understand that. I understand that we don't get access to all of the amenities or the some of the other things that other counties get or cities get. But I wish this was true. Now, I do think there's a lot of other things that would not happen that happen in other countries. I would like to believe that black Americans, the best of us, I'll say it like this, if we was able to be in a system where we were the dominant group and we were able to make the decisions, I would like to think that some of the other stuff I'm about to show wouldn't happen here, wouldn't happen to us. In particular, stuff like this right here. And this is not to mock them for what I'm about to show. It's just, I just don't think this would happen. Let me show this. Mark said she should play Shaka Khan instead of Cynthia Erivo. Didn't they say Cynthia Erivo also might be playing Storm? I said, hell no. Storm, man, that's a certain look you gotta have to play Storm, bro. That's a very coveted position for black women. Storm is the black woman who gets the chance to play Storm. That's equivalent to the black male who gets a chance to play Miles Morales. That's going to be a life-changing role. It's going to be one of the biggest roles you can ever have in your career. That's a big deal. So very particular. You got to be very particular with who you choose to be Storm. Black Panther, Storm, and Miles Morales are the most those roles, whatever black person get those roles, it's going to be life-changing for them more than likely. But anyway, let me play this here. These are the things I think wouldn't happen if black Americans had their own nation. So you got this Asian attacking one of his African workers. Now, I will say this, when people try to paint this as some type of Asians treating the Africans like a slave, no, you can clearly tell these Africans are not intimidated by this Asian man. They're looking at him like a child almost. He's throwing a tantrum. But the fact that he's so willing to put hands on you or hit you with things, this just ain't happening. There will be no restraint shown. But I think they have to show restraint because these people are so necessary with the jobs they offer with their factories and businesses. So these people allow these people to do things because they kind of need them. And maybe that's more of a critique of Black Americans, that we don't know when to swallow our pride. I remember last episode I said something about Black men in the past were willing to sacrifice maybe a little bit of their ego in order to have a better chance of the rest of the people having more opportunity. So a Black man that might hate this country joined the military because he thought maybe it would help my family and help in general my race of people in the future. Maybe it will help build us some level of esteem in this country where we'll benefit from it. And maybe it just will help my family in general. Maybe I'll be able to take care of just my family. So some men had to swallow their pride for the future. Maybe that's what these men are doing. They're allowing these Asians across Africa to do wild stuff because they think it'll help in the future.
Again, the Africans have so much to say about the Black Americans, but I think we know in America, Black folks ain't going for this. But here's the crazy thing. We know that this Chinese fellow is in an African country treating Africans like slaves. And what's worse is that there are Africans watching it, which means that they're comfortable with it. They condone it. And there's an African holding the phone, recording it and laughing about it. The Africans are still colonized, still enslaved mentally. They lie to themselves and speak of their culture and that they have morals and values. And really, not much has changed since colonization. And I don't say this to deride the Africans. In fact, every 2 weeks, I have a meeting called SAS in Africa from our organization. And we have a number of blue chip items. Number one is Africa should be nuclear. Why? To protect from all these invaders.
That's insane. They're never going to let Africa get no damn nuclear weapon. Are you serious? Crazy. Stop Agent Hake. Then says, have a strong end to your week fresh on Monday. Everyone going to rewatch that replay. All right, enjoy your nap, Regina. Have a good nap.
The Muslim Arabs, the white supremacist Christians, and many others. The Chinese. And also, we teach identity so that the Africans can follow this Bible. This is a 3-sentence Bible. It's a 3-sentence Quran. It's a 3-sentence Torah, which is, number 1, be yourself. Number 2, be good to yourself. Number 3, be good to good people. Well,
it's funny because this dude done changed his platform like 30 times. He went from a ladies pickup artist. He done been a right winger. He done been he done been a red pill dude. He done been a pimp. I done seen him in every aspect of the internet. I don't even know his name, but I know his face. I've seen him on all type of channels and different groups. He a chameleon for real. He done changed his spots plenty of times. But I agree with his point that I just don't think that's a thing that would happen in America. Mark says, so like Tariq, yeah. I think he might got more identities than even Tariq. Like Tariq was the pimp. Tariq was the Pan-African Black nationalist, and then he turned into the Black nationalist that he is now. I'll say Pan-African Black now. He was a Pan-African, and now he's a Black nationalist. He done changed his identity 3 or 4 times. That dude on personality 8. He used to talk shit about Black people. Now maybe I'm wrong. Let me reverse that. I've seen him say things that people might deem to be harsh towards Black Americans, Black people, but maybe I'm wrong. Speaking of being in America again, should facial analysis help determine whom companies hire? Do I got to read this? A newspaper suggests a photo can tell a recruiter how much an applicant's personality. Tell a recruiter much about an applicant's personality. Now, if I'm not mistaken, wouldn't that be considered discrimination? To make assumptions about somebody just scanning their face? But then I saw Left. If y'all remember Left is the dude who went viral when Kaepernick took his knee, and Kaepernick made sure to shout him out for his messaging and stuff like that, and he gained the platform then. But he showed a couple articles that talked about this. Unmasking the bias in facial recognition algorithms. How is face recognition surveillance technology racist? If police can authorize and deploy invasive face surveillance technologies against our communities, these technologies will unquestionably be used to target black and brown people. See that black and brown, black and brown people merely for existing. Racial bias in facial recognition algorithms is 2023 one of the most pressing threats to human rights and racial justice in the proliferation of racist facial recognition technology. March 21st is the International Day Against Racial Discrimination. This is a day to commit to understanding how systemic racism operates and takes action towards a better future for us all. In racism in AI, here's how it's being criticized for amplifying biases. Mark says that we know how facial scanning works for us. Exactly. Hell, I remember when is it Amazon store, Amazon Go it's called, when they said you can just scan your hand and walk out of the store. You ain't got to actually, have no cash or a credit card on. You just scan. You go in, pick something up, scan your hand, and keep moving. It's an easy way to shop. We know how this going to go. I think they got it in some places. Then I got to show this. Let me show this.
A topic that I have,
speaking of culture,
covered on this app for a better part of 2 years.
I've never washed my legs or my feet ever.
There's enough empirical data and evidence that we have collected in our own lives and video proof of you guys sharing that online. But
I don't say we avoid bathing, but we bathe very rarely.
A man that came on here and said that he thinks black people smell aggressively too much like soap and it bothers his nose. And I find that very funny from a group of people who are contemplating whether or not they should wash their legs.
I'm not black. Washes. I'm not gonna wash my legs and feet.
Now keep in mind, it's so funny how washing your legs and feet is synonymous with blackness. So cleanliness. You know how to say the term cleanliness is next to godliness? Yeah.
I think using a washcloth is for poor people. But
a group of people who say that feet are self-cleaning and they don't know if they can pick up their feet in the shower to clean them.
No, I don't wash my legs in the shower. No, I don't wash my feet in the shower. Feet are self-cleaning.
Obviously, who the washes your legs, or what kind of psychopath washes your feet? Travis, don't act like you wash your feet. I'm not washing my feet.
Now keep in mind, this dude right here is the brother of Travis Kelce. The dude that was dating the black girl, what's her name? Kayla Nicole, who's now forever be known as his ex. Dude she laying down with don't wash his legs and feet. All right.
Even touch my feet. Why the fuck would I wash my feet?
You done lost your damn mind. When you get your damn mind, you call me.
People who don't wash their towels or their sheets monthly, bi-monthly, tri-monthly, even once a season.
Some guys use bar soap. Some guys use body wash. Some guys have to have a rag, like one of those little square rags.
Yeah.
And somebody like Nate will be like, you old pink asses.
White?
I'll use
whites.
You're not clean because the whites don't use a little rag.
How are you cleaning your ass, bro?
With the bar of soap.
This reminds me of that joke that Dave Chappelle told when he was saying how they take the bar of soap and roll it around in their ass.
Who think that using apparatuses like washcloths are only for poor black people.
I was just informed that there are people who use washcloths in the shower. As a grown adult, are you serious? This can't be real. You're telling me that you are going to use a bacteria-infested cloth rather than just using your hands?
Yeah, we were talking about it the other day.
Washcloth?
No washcloth.
Washcloth?
Oh, no.
Yeah.
I think it's it's just different.
She want to say it's a black thing. Cultural differences. And this ain't just, funny enough, in that video, he was focusing on the white people, but we've seen that there's difference in other demographics or cultures as well. It ain't no difference. Then we got to deal with the cosplaying right here. Let me play this right quick. By the way, I haven't seen Dr. Umar in a minute. Funny using this picture right here. Black American hood cosplay in Thailand. Now, I'm about to say something that sounds like it's in defense of them. But for years, I've seen Black Americans try to get into the cosplaying of anime. And every time they do it and go viral, they get called all type of slurs and all the races come out and talk crazy to them, including the Asians. It ain't just the whites, it's the Asians saying stuff. So if they're having a cosplay in Thailand of Black American hood culture, is that something that's insensitive? I mean, because you can't say it's just whatchamacallit. This is in your media. This is in your movies. They depict you like this in the movies, your music videos, hell, even your version of cartoons and stuff. Like, it's kind of the same. And you got actual Black people out there too. Although this is in Thailand, so I don't know if it's actual Black Americans. That might actually be people from Africa or something. But anyway, let's see. Do we got anything else? And all I got left is the ICE is in Charlotte. There was a whole thing with the NAACP president for Charlotte. She went out there talking about ICE being over there. And I just found out that apparently Charlotte is 15% Hispanic now. Now, maybe you're not from there, so growing up, that number is crazy. Like, I'm not from Charlotte, I'm from Rayford, but 15% of Charlotte is Mexican now. It's only, I think that number was like 2% like 15 years ago. So they've been busy. So she went out there, against ICE and all that other stuff. It is what it is. We kind of expect that from them. That's really all it is. And as much as they keep trying to say that the ICE situation is involving Black people, every time I see a video of them in the vans, this is what it looked like. So every time they say that it involves Black Americans and Black Americans are in danger and this is attacking on them, the only people I see in the actual vans getting deported is people that's not Black American. But it is what it is. Anyway, I think I'm gonna let y'all get out of here, man. Probably won't be going live next week. It's gonna probably be bi-weekly for a little while. But who knows? I might end up being able to make it. But we will see. Thank y'all for coming through. Appreciate the support. Hopefully you enjoyed the conversation. As always, y'all be safe. Be sure to like it on your way out. Share it if you can. And as always, man, y'all be safe. All praise to the Most High. And peace, man.